A college student goes missing after a party.
I said, just be very careful out there. And she messaged back, and that was the last message I got from her.
In the morning, I'm texting all her friends, and everyone's like, I haven't heard from her since last night.
Maybe she got hurt, something medical happened, or she might have been arrested.
Loved ones tell police her boyfriend might be to blame.
The relationship was described as on again, off again.
When you're interviewing somebody, you're looking for clues to whether or not they may be telling you the truth.
I said that even if she's dead, I just need to know where she's at.
But an unexpected confession takes the case in another direction, revealing a killer and a cover-up that leaves everyone horrified.
They thought that if they got some pliers, they can return to the body and remove her teeth.
I feel like she is just a dangerous person.
Oh, they're telling me accessory.
They're gonna like you. I caught them in lie.
Jealousy, rage, betrayal. I think all those factors probably came into effect.
October 30th, 2021. It's the night before Halloween in Fairfield, California, a small town just north of San Francisco, and local police are responding to the usual calls that come in during the holiday.
I've worked at several patrol details on Halloween. We have party calls, we have people lighting off fireworks, sometimes gunfire. It's one of those things where you're out in the community patrolling to make sure everyone's safe.
But tonight, Officer Christopher Grimm receives a different assignment.
It was about 8:40 in the evening. I got a call from dispatch about a missing person. The reporting party, Sarah, had called about her friend Leilani.
She did my makeup that night. We got dressed together. We took pictures together. I was in a skeleton dress and she was a SWAT. We went to this first kind of kickback party. It was kind of a last minute thing that she mentioned that Juan was gonna meet up with us. It was the first time that I really met Juan.
Sarah explains that Juan is 19-year-old Leilani's ex from a year ago, but they recently reconnected.
She really did like him. She kind of tried to not show that she did as much as she did, but I could tell that she did.
They stayed at that party until around 2 a.m. when Leilani decided to call it a night.
Leilani had told me that, well, I'm gonna go to Juan's house. It's in Fairfield, which is 40 minutes away from my house at that point. Her car was at my house, her stuff was at my house, so, she was gonna make sure that she gets dropped off in the morning.
But when Sarah woke up around 9 a.m., Leilani still had not returned to the apartment.
I woke up and I had a missed call from her. Tried calling back, no one answered. I looked at the location and Leilani's location was on the freeway. So in my head, I was like, okay, she's on her way. I'm not gonna worry. I remember checking her location again because it's okay, now it's 30 minutes, you should be close. And at this point, I'm noticing that it's not anywhere close to Sacramento. I'm texting all her friends saying, can you get a hold of her? Can you call her? And everyone's like, no, I haven't heard from her since last night. I didn't have Leilani's family's numbers or anything at this point. We only knew each other for a year or two. So I decided to call the cops.
We tried to get a hold of Leilani via telephone, no results. Leilani's phone's off, it's not GPS pinging.
Once Leilani's phone was off is when things started not making sense. Something for sure happened to her.
Sarah doesn't have Juan's last name or address, so Officer Grimm contacts area hospitals to see if any have treated Leilani in the past 12 hours.
Maybe she got hurt, maybe something medical happened, or she might have been arrested. So I'm like, okay, let's start checking all these boxes. Then Leilani's parents call me. Now I'm really concerned. They haven't got a hold of their daughter. They don't know where she's at.
About 3-4 o'clock, I still had not heard from Leilani, and started reaching out to her friends, and sure enough, Sarah reached back out and said, I've been trying to locate you guys. We don't know where she is. She's missing. She told me that she had already called the police and made a missing persons report.
Violet recounts her final conversation with Leilani for investigators.
She told me that she was going to go to Sarah's house, and I remember messaging her back, and I said, just be very careful out there. And she messaged back, of course I'll be okay. Of course I'll be safe. And that was the last message I got from her.
Her pattern of life went dead at 10 o'clock in the morning. So she has no contact, no outgoing phone calls on her phone. Her phone's off. No bank transactions on her debit cards. So now foul play is starting to come in.
Her parents came to the investigations bureau and they said, I don't know what we can do to help, but we want to find our daughter.
So part of my investigation was to figure out a little bit of background on Leilani.
Leilani Beecham was born June 12, 2002, in Long Beach, California. She was the oldest of 3 children.
Ever since Leilani was tiny, we called her Tiny but Mighty because she was a small girl with a very big personality.
I came into their life when she was 4. She always helped the underdog. She always made it a point to take care of people that she thought were less fortunate.
Growing up, Leilani's interests were shaped by her loved ones.
Leilani fell in love with cars ever since she was really tiny, and it was definitely probably stemmed from her brother, Anthony.
Lonnie would look over and see us working on cars all the time. Sometimes she would work on cars with us. So she already just naturally knew quite a bit about cars.
In the town center, they would have an event with car shows. So we would always go to the car shows, and the kids would take pictures.
She was a super fun big sister. Me and her always used to go get Jamba Juice and have movie nights. And she always used to do my makeup and stuff like that, very girly stuff.
After high school, Leilani went to college in San Jose. Instead of cars or makeup, she decided to pursue a career in real estate like her parents.
Onyx is a broker as well, too, so I think that's where she was, getting that drive from. And then Violet's a real estate agent, so it was, just in the family.
Leilani made me proud pretty much in anything that she did.
But Leilani didn't give up car culture completely. One of her favorite pastimes was attending car sideshows.
It's basically a flash mob gathering of people and vehicles where stunts are performed.
Cars drift, slide, do donuts. It's not real race cars, but Mustangs, CTSVs, And it was another family being in that scene.
Me and Leilani were going to these parties and meeting new people and just having fun, enjoying our life.
And with Halloween season approaching, Leilani and her friends were making big plans.
She liked the whole idea of doing her hair crazy, doing her makeup fun, and just being something that she's not for a day.
She was going to drive down from San Jose so that we would be able to have a sleepover together before the night that we were going to go out. We were just super excited.
But now, Leilani has vanished, and Bay Area police are attempting to locate her on-again, off-again boyfriend who took her home that night.
We're looking for a guy named Juan. I get a phone call from Sarah later on about 10:30. So this is about roughly 2 hours after she initially had contacted the Fairfield Police Department to report Leilani missing. Sarah gives me Juan's address.
I asked her friends, if anyone knew his house's address. I gave it to the police. I gave her the description of what she looked like, what she was wearing last, just things like that. The only things that I could think to do to help anything.
I think I was more in shock than anything. I really started to panic.
Leilani has no pattern of life from the early morning hours on the day before. I think that we should probably spin up investigations to figure out what's going on. We can't let this slip through the cracks.
Coming up, suspicions against Juan grow.
I do remember him being very fidgety and almost had a scared look on his face.
And a guilty conscience reveals a brutal crime.
She said something about, "This is your fault," looked at him and then shot him.
It's been almost 24 hours since 19-year-old Leilani Beacham left a Halloween party and vanished. Thankfully, investigators have their first lead, the address of her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Juan.
I get the phone call from Sarah advising Juan's address is on the east side of town near Travis Air Force Base. I was able to get Juan's name by looking up that address. So with that information, my partner and I go to that address to see what's going on.
As they travel, they run a background check and learn that Juan is a 20-year-old enlisted airman.
We get there, no lights on, no cars in the driveway, no one's coming to the door. I'm like, okay, well, obviously no one's home. My partner and I decide to walk to the backyard of the residence. All the curtains on the outside exterior windows are open, so you can kind of look inside to see the kitchen, the living room. I don't see any broken glass. I don't see any bodies laying down on the ground, on the floor of the residence. Nothing to say, hey, look, something bad had happened inside. So I had our dispatch center contact security forces to get a hold of his Juan's first sergeant to figure out where exactly he is.
When detectives hear back the following morning, they're advised Juan is not currently on base and hasn't been seen for several days. They're directed to Juan's friend, another airman named Damian Ponders.
Juan and Damian are best friends. They're very close. They met through the Air Force and hung out a lot.
Juan actually has Damian's name tattooed on him. That's how close they were.
Detectives consider if Damian is one of the friends Juan brought to the party the night Leilani disappeared.
Detective Chapman and I had gone in to interview Damian Ponders and try to learn what happened to Leilani.
Damian was in his dorm at the time, and I asked him the preliminary questions that I do in most missing persons cases, and he said he didn't know where she was at.
Damian confirms he was at the party with Juan, but says Leilani didn't leave with them.
Damian tells me that he left the party with Juan and goes back to the house in Fairfield. Juan wakes him up and he goes to work. That's essentially the gist of his statement.
That directly contradicts what Leilani's friend Sarah told investigators.
When you're interviewing somebody, you're looking for a lot of different clues to whether or not they may be telling you the truth. But I do remember him being very fidgety when being questioned and almost had a scared look on his face.
I said that even if she's dead, I just need to know where she's at. And then I got a reaction from Damian that was very Hollywood, if you will, a big gulp. I could see his palms dripping sweat, and that was the first red flag in the case. I knew something was wrong. But I can't force anyone to say anything.
Detectives release Damian and leave him on the base for the time being. But on their way out, they get an unexpected call.
Juan agreed, through his commanding officer, to come speak with me at Travis Air Force Base.
Juan's story is essentially the same as his friend Damien's.
It was that he did see Leilani in Sacramento, but never came home with her. But during his interview, I was made aware that Damien came down from his dorm and wanted to speak with me again. So I leave Juan in the interview room, and I speak with Damien. He's somehow more nervous, and he wants to tell me something.
To investigators' surprise, Damien says he wants to change his statement. He now confesses that Leilani did come home with him and Juan after the Halloween party.
Damien, being heavily intoxicated, ended up being tucked in, for lack of a better description, on the downstairs couch. And Juan and Leilani went upstairs to Juan's room where they slept. That morning, Damien did not wake up to any of the alarms set by Juan, so their supervisor calls Juan. Juan rushes downstairs, wakes Damien up. Damien goes onto base and goes to work.
Damien says as far as he knew, Leilani was still there when he left. A few hours later, he got a call from Juan with a strange request.
He was asked to go to the store and buy specific cleaning supplies to include bleach, towels, and things of that nature.
Damien says he did as Juan asked, and when he got to the house, he found out what the supplies were for.
Damien was really there to help cover up Leilani's murder.
According to Airman Damien Ponders, 19-year-old Leilani Beecham isn't missing, she's dead. And he says he agreed to help his best friend, Juan Peralta, clean up the evidence.
Damien says he's afraid, but he, is worried for Juan, and so he agrees to help.
He's, on one hand, trying to help out his best friend, but on the other hand, concealing a murder.
Juan is actually in a neighboring interview room, and he can hear part of what Damien is saying.
I think Juan put two and two together, and he said something to the effect of, well, since you know everything, I'll tell you what happened.
Juan confirms everything Damien told investigators, but insists he isn't the one who killed Leilani. Instead, he blames the murder on his jealous ex-girlfriend, a 21-year-old woman named Jessica Quintanilla.
The relationship between Jessica Quintanilla and Juan Peralta was described as volatile and on again, off again.
A background check reveals Jessica Quintanilla was born October 2000 in Pittsburgh, California.
Jessica had a lot of energy all the time. Like a lot of energy. She was always running, playing. She's always been a happy person. She's always had a lot of ideas. She's a very smart girl.
Jessica had two children at an early age, both before she was 21. She was going through a divorce at the time.
She had 2 jobs as a dental assistant and also as a caregiver at a senior home.
Juan says he and Jessica have had an on and off relationship for about a month. During one of their breaks, he'd rekindled things with Leilani.
Leading up to the night of Friday, October 29th of Halloween weekend 2021, Juan and Jessica had broken up again, perhaps the final time this time.
So Juan meets up with Leilani, and they ultimately come back to his home in Fairfield, where they go to sleep. The next morning, Jessica had come over.
An argument occurs between the two of them, where Jessica's trying to pick up some of her property, and during that time is when Jessica finds out that Leilani's in the bed. Jessica said something to the effect of, "Oh, this bitch."
When jealousy gets involved, bad things happen.
Jessica basically left the room, went downstairs to her car, came back, now had a firearm.
Jessica said something about, "This is your fault," looked at him, and then shot Leilani.
After Jessica shot Leilani Beacham in the head, Juan is there kind of in shock and grappling with what just happened, and goes over to Leilani and can clearly see that she is deceased.
Juan says Jessica threatened him as well.
She says something to him along the lines of, according to him, basically, she kind of says, "You need to help me or else I will hurt you, Damien, your family, ruin your career."
According to Juan, he was too scared to cross Jessica or her family.
She had a brother, Marco Quintanilla, that had just been placed on parole.
He was a previously convicted felon, convicted of attempted murder in Contra Costa County some years before.
Juan took these all as threats, and because of that, he went along with helping Jessica.
Juan proceeds to tell us how they loaded Leilani's body into a car and drove it to basically down south to the Salinas area and had dumped the body off of a hillside.
Juan tells investigators he called his friend Damien at Jessica's request.
At least from Jessica's perspective, Damien is a ride or die for Juan. They were going to need to go back to Juan's house to clean up the blood and other materials that were there that could incriminate them.
After they cleaned up the crime scene, they drove to the house where Jessica's brother Marco was staying.
Juan said Jessica got out of the car, Marco got in the car, having never met Juan before, and basically said, "If she goes down, you go down, and I have no problem going back to prison."
Juan told us that he had provided the shovels, some other items, and the firearm to Marco to dispose of.
They went to Home Depot to buy various items to include duct tape, lighter fluid, and pliers. Jessica thought that if they got some pliers, they can return to the body and remove Leilani Beacham's teeth and light her on fire, destroying all evidence that would lead back to who that body belonged to.
Juan says investigators found him before they got a chance to burn Leilani's body, and offers to take them to the spot where they left her.
He couldn't necessarily give us an address, so we put him in a patrol car, and he showed us where to go.
Coming up, investigators zero in on their suspect.
There's nothing telling us that they're gonna like you.
But can they prove she's the one who pulled the trigger?
The only people in the room other than Leilani were Juan and Jessica.
After confessing to his role in covering up the murder of Leilani Beacham, 20-year-old Juan Peralta leads detectives to the spot where they left the body.
Where her body was disposed of was in a secluded neighborhood, windy roads, less than desirable cell phone service, 30 yards or so off the road into a valley that was overgrown with brush. And he took us to Leilani, pointed her out.
While Leilani's body is taken to the medical examiner for autopsy, investigators notify her parents.
Without saying any words, they knew what we're about to say, which almost made it harder. They're waiting for us to say it so they can hear it.
In the beginning, I was just more worried about, did she suffer? Did she bleed out? Was she asking for help?
Seeing Leilani's parents hear the news that they lost their daughter naturally it brings up emotion. And that emotion essentially is a driving force to continue to do a good job.
With that extra motivation in mind, a forensics team heads to Juan's house hoping to find any evidence he and Jessica Quintanilla may have missed while cleaning the crime scene.
For this particular scene, I did use Blue Star, which is a presumptive blood agent. When Blue Star reacts with the blood, it creates like a blue, almost like fluorescent color. And so I found areas in the bedroom as well as the garage that glowed. We also located a projectile strike in one of the bedroom walls. And we were able to locate the bullet fragment.
It helps support Juan's statement and helps tell you if he's telling you the truth.
When investigators go to Jessica's house to question her, she's not there. But a few hours later, she's spotted in the neighborhood driving Juan's car.
It's Juan's prized possession. It's the car that he brings to the sideshows. They ultimately make a stop on the vehicle and find that Jessica Quintanilla is the sole driver.
Fairfield PD shows up to arrest her. When they get to that scene in Pittsburgh, after Jessica stopped, her brother Marco Quintanilla shows up in a car. And so Marco is also arrested at that point on parole violation. And they are both transported to Fairfield PD.
By the time detectives sit down with Jessica in an interrogation room, it's Halloween night.
I would say she was calm, but almost seemed annoyed that we burdened her by bringing her down here and we're asking her what she's thinking is stupid questions. She was playing the game of not knowing anything.
Okay. What do you know about their friendship, relationship, whatever?
I don't.
You don't?
Mm-mm. I just know she's cool with a lot of people on the sideshow.
The questioning turns to her month-long relationship with Juan.
You said your guys' relationship's like...
It's really good, honestly. It's really good. It's just me.
Okay. Tell me about that a little bit.
I just have toxic traits. I tend to start arguments kind of over nothing.
Jessica, in her interview, told us that her and Juan were dating. It was a very short relationship, but that Juan lived with her and basically described themselves as being a happy couple.
Jessica contradicts everything Juan told them.
Juan ever cheated on you?
No.
No.
That I know of.
In her timeline of the weekend, Jessica told us that she had gone to, I think, several Halloween parties. Do you know where Juan was Friday?
With me.
With you?
Oh, no, actually he was at a party in Sac.
Okay.
And then he was with me.
Okay. What time did you meet up with him on Friday?
I was drunk as I had to check my phone.
Okay. Nighttime, daytime?
Nighttime. Yes, because I woke up to the man in my bed. He has a house key.
Are you aware of Juan's relationship with Leilani?
I don't think they have a relationship.
You don't think they have a relationship? Okay. Why would Juan tell me earlier that he has a relationship with Leilani?
I don't know.
At some point, Jessica asked if she can speak to her brother, which is not necessarily something we do often, but at this point, she's not giving us a statement. He's not really giving us too much, so we put them in the room together.
Aware they're being watched, Jessica and Marco try to keep their conversation discreet.
Marco and Jessica hug each other, and Jessica whispers to Marco something to the effect of, don't speak to them, they don't know and stuff of that nature.
Oh, they're telling me accessory because I took the shovel.
There's nothing, Tony. They're gonna like you. I caught them in a lie.
She's whispering, but you can hear it. She's saying, "What did you tell them about the body?" Which obviously begs the question, if you didn't know about the body, how would you ask that?
When detectives separate the pair, Marco says he's ready to talk.
Marco has something, hanging over his head, and that's parole. So he wants to tell the truth, and selfishly, he doesn't want to get in trouble for something he didn't do. Marco tells us that he actually meets Juan for the first time that morning, and Juan and Jessica tell him that we up.
I went home to her house to check up on her, and I seen the shovel. I took it. He asked me if I could take the Glock. I asked him, is it clean? He was like, yes, there's nothing, it's never been shot before. I didn't grab it. I told him I just put it in the back of the car. I don't know what it was for, whether it was for that or for other purposes.
We ask if there's any way we can get that firearm. So Marco calls his girlfriend and essentially coordinates her to bring it down to the police department so we can pick it up.
However, analysis indicates the gun Marco gave them is not the murder weapon.
The gun that was involved in the murder was never found. At this point, we have probable cause to believe that Jessica Quintanilla was involved in the murder of Leilani Beacham.
Jessica, Marco, and Juan are all placed under arrest.
The police told me that she was being accused of murdering Leilani, and I said, who is Leilani and who is Juan? We were all confused. We didn't know what to do, what was going on. We've never been in a situation like that.
But with everyone telling a different story, detectives need to find a way to get to the truth.
Someone was lying about what happened, trying to minimize what they had done.
After charging 3 suspects in connection to the murder of Leilani Beacham, investigators set about the task of determining which one of them pulled the trigger. Juan Peralta insists he had no reason to hurt Leilani, and her loved ones seem to agree with him.
From everyone I spoke with, Juan and Leilani's relationship was casual and nothing serious at all.
Leilani and Juan had known each other, I think, for about a year, and they had been kind of friends with benefits.
There was no expectations in their relationship. It was very friendly, and that leads me to believe further that Juan had no animosity against Leilani or any reason to murder Leilani Beacham.
Jessica, I feel like she is just a dangerous person.
Leilani's family says that after Jessica's arrest, they've been flooded with negative stories about her.
When it became public on the news of Leilani's murder, I had random people messaging me, and they had said various things about Jessica's behavior and how she was quite violent, and they weren't surprised that this had happened.
Social media posts reveal there was another incident involving Jessica and Leilani about a week before the murder took place.
Juan and Leilani attended a sideshow in the Sacramento area, and Jessica was there.
Jessica came up to the vehicle seeing Leilani in Juan's car and opened up the door, started antagonizing Leilani, and was like trying to fight her.
She was like, this girl freaked out on me. I didn't even know who she was. She was mad that I was with Juan.
Looking for further proof, detectives get a search warrant for Jessica's electronic devices.
Jessica Quintanilla had stated that she did not know that Leilani and Juan had had a prior sexual relationship. In the Instagram record, she stated very clearly that she was aware of that. She had spoken about that incident at the sideshow and spoke about it in a very derogatory way about Leilani, kind of mocking her and laughing at her. She did not like seeing Leilani in a car with Juan.
Also, our cell phone collects data to include location data. So we use things like that to prove or disprove statements. Juan's given us the chronology of where they went and when they went places. Once we gathered the call detail records and had them analyzed, we're able to prove that the things that he was saying were true.
The GPS data on Jessica's phone indicates she went to the locations Juan mentioned, including the site where Leilani's body was found and the store where they bought supplies.
On the day of the murder, Jessica and Juan were seen on camera at Home Depot purchasing shovels and some other items.
But what I really tried to review the evidence for was how were they acting after this had transpired? And that when you see the nature of their behavior and attitude in those roughly 24 to 36 hours after Leilani Beacham was murdered, Juan appeared to be someone who was affected by what he had seen, and Jessica appeared to be incredibly unaffected.
We found that she even went to a party after murdering Leilani Beacham.
Despite the evidence against her, Jessica pleads not guilty. And without a murder weapon or direct evidence she pulled the trigger, prosecutors know a conviction is not guaranteed.
If one juror is not convinced that the defendant is guilty, it can result in a mistrial.
The only people in the room when Leilani was murdered, other than Leilani, were Juan and Jessica. So I did not think I was going to be able to prove, just based on physical evidence, who was the shooter.
On October 15th, 2024, 3 years after the murder of 19-year-old Leilani Beacham, Jessica Quintanilla and her brother Marco stand trial together.
Marco Quintanilla was charged with accessory after the fact to a murder, and he was also charged with felon being in possession of a firearm.
Damian Ponders and Juan Peralta were provided immunity in order to provide a statement in court as a witness.
Juan and Damian were not charged with any crimes related to Leilani's murder.
Juan and Damian did not get off scot-free. They were kicked out of the Air Force. They have been held accountable.
I remember the first time I walked into court and I saw them face to face. It was a very surreal feeling. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel mad. I felt very empty.
Over the course of 5 weeks, prosecutors present evidence and witness testimony that frames Jessica as a dangerously jealous woman with a history of violence.
Jealousy, rage, betrayal. I think all those factors probably came into effect when the incident happened.
I think Jessica snapped because she's someone who liked control. This is one time where she was not in control of who Juan was seeing. And in order for her to control that situation, she killed Leilani Beacham.
What I argued to the jury, and what I believe to be true from the evidence, is that Juan did not have a motive to hurt Leilani. Jessica did. Juan testified that Jessica and Marco threatened him to help cover up this murder.
On November 5th, Jessica takes the stand in her own defense. She changes her story, now claiming Leilani was killed by accident.
Jessica gave the impression that she and Juan had struggled over a firearm, and they must have been on the right side of the bed. And she grabbed his arm and then said the gun discharged or fired. And the bullet struck Leilani Beacham in the head, killing her. But the coroner testified that the bullet entered the left side of Leilani Beacham's head, killing her. So Jessica Quintanilla, then in that moment during the trial, was clearly lying.
No remorse on Jessica's part. None at all. That whole sense of arrogance through the whole trial was just sickening for the family.
On November 19th, the jury delivers its verdict.
Jessica Quintanilla was ultimately found guilty of the murder of Leilani Beacham and was sentenced to 25 years to life. Marco Quintanilla was found guilty as well and was given 4 years as an accessory after the fact.
You're not happy, you just feel thankful that you're able to bring some sense of justice to Leilani's family, who obviously can never get complete justice because Leilani is gone.
I don't think 25 years was enough because they took away my sister and it made the whole family grieve.
Losing Leilani made us all feel that we were also all buried with her. However, one of the things I keep saying out loud is, Lonnie, give me your strength, because she was so strong. And I do feel like somehow we're all getting a piece of that strength that is allowing us to move forward.
I just forever will always hold Leilani's, legacy, because I remember the good times I had with her and how much she affected me as a person.
We're setting up a foundation for Lonnie. So that's kind of where we stand now as a family. She won't be forgotten, and we will really